Time Pro Bowler Cameron Jordan stops by 1 hour from now, where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong, and Joy Taylor joining me on a Monday, where apparently where you live it was sunny, and where I live it was breezy and cool all weekend. The valley was supposed to be scorching hot.
It was as reported. Yes, it's a different temperature in different parts of Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, it's very weird to say. When they show the news, you get three temperatures. You get the beach, you get the valley, then you get the desert. I didn't see the sun all weekend. Everybody's
That's
like,
so crazy.
It's nuts. Like it looked like Seattle the whole weekend, which, by the way, I prefer. I've told you.
Yeah.
I don't love heat. And so,
I like the heat. I got accustomed to it in Miami, so I like it.
You like it.
It got to a point this winter. I mean, we were complaining about it. We had so much rain.
It just poured.
Yes.
So we lived in two different cities this weekend, apparently, from the life experience. So one of the stories that happened, the free agency thing in the NBA is over, and now the players are holding press conferences, and Anthony Davis held a press conference for the Lakers. You know, and I was thinking about this. My daughter just got back. We sent her on a leadership council thing with college students for 5 weeks in Cape Town, South Africa. And she's been to Italy. Her mom's Italian, so she's been to Italy before, and she loves to travel. In our family, she's like the adventure, bungee jump, skydive, that kind of stuff, right? That's what she likes to do. And she went to Cape Town, and she's like, "Oh, this is way prettier than Italy." And it's not the first person I've met. I've met probably a half dozen people in my life who are like, everybody goes to Italy and sees Italy, but you got to go to Cape Town. You cannot believe how beautiful Cape Town is. And so the last month I've been fiddling around with all this stuff and looking at all Cape Town pictures. And she brought a book home. And the difference is you've just seen a lot of Italy. It's been in movies. We talk about Italy, Italian food, Italian culture in America. We see it all the time. We talk about it all the time. It's the easiest place to get to if you live in the Eastern Seaboard. It's a 6-7 hour flight, right? And so that reminds me of Anthony Davis. He's the best player in American sports you haven't seen. Nobody really knows. 95% of fans have never seen him. Oh, you see him in an all-star game? Oh, please. Nobody plays defense. Pelicans ratings in New Orleans were atrocious, and nobody puts them on national TV. And you can say you watched that Portland series, but you probably didn't, because I looked at the ratings of that series this morning, and they weren't huge. The bottom line is this happens from time to time. We have a guy in baseball named Mike Trout. There was a wide receiver in Detroit named Calvin Johnson, who I contend is the first or second most talented wide receiver in the NFL, but he didn't go to playoff games a lot, and he didn't go to Super Bowls. And Anthony Davis is an unbelievable player. He's 26 years old. The scouts I talk to think this will be the first or second year of his prime. He is top 3 in blocks and top 8 in rebounding and the best free throw shooting big and the best defender of the pick and roll. He's got a very laid-back personality like Calvin Johnson and Mike Trout, and because of that, you just don't know much about him. By the way, you never watched Gronk play at the University of Arizona. If he'd have played at the University of Miami or Alabama or Texas or Oklahoma, you'd have known Gronk. But he played at a basketball school, the University of Arizona. And then he went to New England, and you're like, oh, Gronk's amazing. What if Arizona to Jacksonville was his route? No Super Bowls, no Thursday Night Football. You don't see him on national TV, no Monday Night Football, maybe not even Pro Bowls. What's the difference with Gronk? He's buried. You don't see him. And so I think Anthony Davis is a fascinating player. I can't wait to watch him play. He's got a very laid-back personality. He's the best big in the game. He does more good things than any big in the game. Most believe within a year he will be the best player on the Lakers playing with LeBron James. He talked a little bit about this weekend about sort of the empowerment of players, about moving from team to team, and here was his thoughts.
I just wanted to take control of my career. It was always, people kind of telling me, no, we need to do this, we need to do that, you need to do this. And I just kind of go with it. I was, young, and I was like, okay, I feel like this person has the best interest for me, whatever. And then as I started getting older, started getting more experience, I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do it this way.
By the way, he averaged 25, 26 a game. Again, most believe he's just now going into his prime. Won't be able to be double-teamed because of LeBron James and because the Lakers have enough good shooters. So this happens from time to time where we have a great player, and this kid's going to be a 27-point-a-game player, top 3 in blocks, top 5 in rebounds, best free throw shooting big in the game, never have to take him out, unbelievable defender, maybe the best defensive player in the NBA, and most of you haven't watched him. You say you do. You've watched YouTube highlights. You're not watching Pelicans games. They're not watching them in New Orleans. We got the playoffs one time. So it's going to be kind of I kind of feel like, oh, I got to watch Anthony Davis play now. By the way, Joel Embiid Like Italy over Cape Town, Joel Embiid doesn't stop talking. He plays for a good team, the Sixers. You get that early TV game with the Sixers last year because LeBron's now in the West. I've seen a ton of Joel Embiid. I've seen him play 100 times. How many Anthony Davis games have I watched in all these years? And he's the best young player at his position in the NBA. He's mostly no big, massive, scary injury history. He's had nagging injuries, free throws, blocks, defense, pick and roll. Does it all. Can't wait to watch him play. So Charles Barkley was talking this weekend. And last week, it's just kind of a crazy story. Russell Westbrook gets traded, obviously, to the Houston Rockets. I don't think it's going to work, at least long term. You can make any relationship work initially. There's the new, fresh car smell of any relationship, and it works. But Charles Barkley was talking about the biggest issue with Westbrook playing with James Harden.
About 2 or 3 years ago, I suggested that Russell Westbrook switched to the 2 position. I think that's the only way this team can work. But Russell's got to buy into being the 2 guard and not try to be the point guard because the ball's going to be in James' hands a lot. So if Russ would dedicate himself to be the shooting guard, I think this team got a chance of working. But it all depends on if Russ's going to buy in and be a 2 guard.
This is exactly right. Charles is right. James Harden is going to control the ball because James Harden is the better player. James Harden averages 35 a game. James Harden, this is his city and his team and his franchise and his offense. He's not changing, nor should he. Kobe in his prime, when Shaq left, that was Kobe's team. It was up to Pau Gasol to figure out, and Pau was an all-star, how you going to play with Kobe? James Harden analytically is the best player in the NBA offensively. Annoying to watch, drives you nuts. He's not changing. This is his franchise, his offense, his team, and his city. And he ran Chris Paul out of town. So that's the first thing. Second thing is Westbrook's game is his game. He's not a pure shooter. But one of the things I hear talked about a lot, and I can only speak for men. I will not speak for women. I will just speak for how guys' brains work. If you're the best in the world at something and you have a rigid personality, you will not get flexible. This is not a basketball question. It's a personality question. Let me ask everybody watching. Anybody in your life rigid? Brother, dad, sister, friend, boss? If I gave them $150 million, would they become less rigid? No, they wouldn't, would they? Again, I'm speaking for guys, can't speak for women. The whole they get along, they're best friends, it doesn't matter with guys. Because guys' careers, generally speaking, are really important to their ego and their vanity. And when we get into the sweet spot in our careers and you're paying us a lot of money, we're not making a lot of sacrifices even for our best friends. And I don't know if these guys are best friends, but the word is they want to play with each other. Never forget this. Paul George and Westbrook were friends. George bailed on him. Carmelo and Chris Paul were friends. Chris Paul didn't like him. Harden and Chris Paul weren't best friends, but all the stories, I went back yesterday and read them, said they got along. They couldn't stand each other. So what the whole friends argument to me is fun. I just read a story this morning about how Houston wants to make it work from the Houston Chronicle. Coach Mike D'Antoni is going to stagger his stars, so Harden and Westbrook will likely share the court for less than half the game. Oh, okay. So your game plan going in is we hope they don't play together that much. It also says later in this story, this is all going to require Harden to be agreeable to being off the ball more often. He is not going to allow his game, 36 a game, to change dramatically. His team, his offense, his city, his ego, his check. He's not... Listen, friends can accommodate other friends, but the way guys work when they're in the prime of their professional career, I'll give you solid, but don't get in the way of my game, and I'm not sacrificing for you. Find me an all-star in his prime, one in NBA history, that came into a team as the second best player and forced the one to change his game. Now you'll say, well, Steph and KD. Steph didn't change his game. Steph just shot less. Steph didn't play a different position. Steph said, I'll take 2.5 shots less a game, give Kevin Durant 2 of my shots a game. Didn't change his game. We're asking Westbrook, go play another position. What? Now, LeBron in his 17th year, stacks of money, stacks a ring, legacy solved. None of those, Westbrook doesn't have the legacy and the rings. LeBron will probably acquiesce a little and do some point guard stuff this year. But LeBron's always been an incredible ball handler outside of Magic Johnson, probably the best ball handler for his size I've ever seen. You're asking Westbrook to do something he does poorly. LeBron doesn't do anything poorly. Maybe not a very good defender now. You're asking Westbrook, hey, stack some money. Off guard. I just don't see it working. I do think when you acquire D'Angelo Russell, Russell Westbrook, I like to have talented players because I think Westbrook will score a bunch of points and you'll eventually be able to move him. And I do like the fact they do like each other. I think you're more willing to put your head down and ignore strife if it is a buddy. But this is not a basketball question. It is a personality question. Find rigid people, give them $150 million. They don't get less rigid, even if they're playing with their friends. Oh, so I saw a quote. You know how you ever go to like I don't go on Instagram much, although it's real popular. I'm more of a Twitter guy. It's simpler for me. It's more news stuff. So I'm not a big Instagram person, but from what I see on Instagram, it is a lot of a little bit like Facebook. Like my life's perfect. It's awesome. Nobody puts a frown on Instagram. Nobody puts a bad meal. So what that's called in psychology is projecting. You're trying to project a great life. Well, none of us have a perfect life. Not many of us have a great life. We all have lives, right? Good, bad days, cry, sad, joy, whatever. We have lives. They're pretty balanced. Good, bad. I lost my cat yesterday. Wasn't a good day in our house for us. Sad day, yeah. Hope to find her.
Oh, you haven't found her yet?
No, I haven't found her. Got a bell all over the neighborhood. Yeah, it's just been a bad weekend for us. We lost a cat. I didn't go to Instagram and say my life is great. If I'd have gone to Instagram, I'd have had a picture of the cat and said, anybody find the cat? It was a tough weekend in the house, right? A lot of sadness. So the point being, I saw a football story where a team is projecting. And when people tend to project, they're hiding something. And there's an NFL team either hiding something or trying too hard to tell me how great something is. And I'll talk about that coming up. Doug Gottlieb, Cameron Jordan. I've never had Cameron Jordan on the show before. Cameron Jordan's all sorts of personality. It's just all sorts of personality. Catino Mobley, too. Before you travel this summer, where's your big next trip to?
Not planned yet. We don't have too much summer left for big trips.
That's right. Away travel and away luggage. Joy has away luggage?
Yes.
I have away luggage. It's a Newport, California-based company, and it's absolutely unbelievable. It's just as thoughtful as luggage can be. Every suitcase has a hidden removable laundry bag, separates dirty and clean clothes. It's got a TSA-approved lock. Everything's safe. 4 spinner wheels. It's quiet.